Well, good morning from the Colorado River, the border between California across the bridge there and Arizona, where I'm standing. And this isn't just the border between two states, but also the point at which Route 66 crosses from Arizona into California and vice versa. We're back on the mother road where for 100 years, Route 66 travelers have had to cross the Colorado River here at a point known as Topock, Arizona. It was originally a crossing for the Native Americans and early pioneers. Then they had steamboat paddle ferries going across the river, and eventually massive railroad bridges that later shared their traffic with cars, believe it or not. The early automobiles would wait for a train to cross and then cross the bridge one way at a time. But then, of course, as highway traffic increased, cars eventually got their own bridge until finally even Route 66 was replaced by the modern interstate in 1966. Topock was just a small settlement at the crossing of the Colorado River. Today, there's a really nice hotel here, which my son and I stayed in last night, with a little bit of Route 66 theming, located just in the shadow of the bridge. Is the perfect place to stay if you just want one last night in Arizona, or if, like us, you want to wake up at exit 1 in Arizona, right at the beginning of the quest. Now look at this, it's a full-fledged little resort over here, Topock 66. Not only do they have access to the river and boat rentals, look at this crazy stage over the pool, the nice hotel with little kitchens in each room. You can see town-wise, beyond this, there's not much else. But importantly, the whole complex sits just below old Route 66, where it passes underneath the Santa Fe railroad tracks, literally walking distance from this old railroad underpass. I've seen a lot of old photos from Route 66's once upon a time, where through this railroad pass, the same way we're looking today, there were once several gas stations, lots of little places to stop right here on the border between the two states, now obviously completely obliterated, erased from existence. So basically, old Topock, as the earliest Route 66 travelers would have known it, is completely gone. However, on this side of the bridge, the side of the bridge that the modern Interstate 40 passes right by, you've got the old 1908 Santa Fe water tower still standing here over 100 years later. Actually predates Route 66, emblazoned with that shield of glory up there. You can see the Colorado River stretching away into the distance. Over there is California itself. There are still multiple bridges crossing the span, including the historic Arched Trails Bridge, one of the old original Route 66 bridges, now converted to carry pipes across the river, the railroad bridge, and of course, the modern Interstate Highway Bridge, taking travelers over to the Golden State. It's a pretty obscure Route 66 location, but this is the path of the old road. A lot quicker to take the modern interstate. But where's the fun in that, right? We're taking the old road today from Topock, Arizona, up and out to the Old West to buckle up for some Arizona Route 66. Now, between the river and the mountains where we're going, there is one small town, kind of a retirement community, a little boating community called Golden Shores. Normally, there's not a lot of stuff to see in Golden Shores, which is why I almost never stop here. But as I was passing by the community park over here, I noticed that Golden Shores has set up a Topock fun pick opportunity out here. You see, this is what I'm gonna love about this 100th anniversary Route 66 trip. Trying to discover some of the new centennial photo ops, the new things to do out here, as well as some of the ones I've missed. Like, this could have been here for a while. These drive-through photo ops are getting very popular on the old Mother Road. Look at this tiny building over here, the Topock Art Guild. By the way, the original town of Topock was located roughly where Golden Shores is now before it was moved to where the bridges are moved. They got a junk statue here commemorating Don the Town Greeter, AKA the Marsh Captain, AKA Hawkman. Got a lot of nicknames right there. Look at the steampunk old hubcap muffler, wheelman. Now that is some serious art right there. Not much else to see at the Topock Art Guild at the moment. It looks pretty closed up. But according to this little plaque right here on top of these cinder blocks, this small building began life in 1920 as a railroad switchman's shanty. And it was later the U.S. Post Office at Topock, Arizona, and moved here later to preserve it in the 1970s, I believe. Okay, my boy's in the car over there. And I love this right now. I don't know if any of you have kids, but this is called return on investment. Look at that. I no longer have to drive through the fun pick opportunities myself. Now the boy can do it. All right, boy. We did it. Fun One pick opportunity achieved. Now on to the mountains. Not much else to see in Golden Shores anyways. So let's get on the road. Make sure you gas up when you're in Golden Shores because we got miles and miles of desert scenery ahead of us. Now what we're headed to is one of the most famous towns on old Route 66, located up ahead in the Black Mountains of Arizona. Dude, this is already so fun. I love me some desert, especially endless miles of twisty roads leading into the Black Mountains. Also, I love London driving. Like I said, return on investment. Look at this, I'm hands-free. Oh yeah, look at that. Getting into the mountains now. I love it. Enjoying the twisty roads? They making you nervous?
Yeah, they're pretty fun. No, not really that nervous.
Watch out, runaway bread truck! Now, if you haven't figured it out already, the place we're heading to is the world famous Oatman, Arizona. Established out here after gold was discovered in them there hills right around the turn of the last century, right? The early 1900s. Oatman got its name and its post office around 1909, but the real big rich strike happened around 1915, right? So a pretty modern gold rush town. And yet even in that era, the miners who came out here brought with them the old trusty reliable burro. And long after the miners switched to machine power, horseless carriages, and the gold played out in the area, their abandoned burros' descendants remain. And look at this, before we've even rolled into town, hello there. Well, look, this one's crying because no one will feed him. They're already stopping traffic and coming up to the cars to beg for food. Hey buddy, sorry. I got no food for you. Look at these beggars. Look at these guys. Well, as some of my relatives say when they watch my videos, every jackass has got to make a living. Oh, look at the baby over there. Ah, that's the cutest thing ever. When you get the little baby donkeys, just like that old Christmas book my mother used to read to me. Hello there, little baby. Hello, little baby burro. Mama's giving me the stink eye. Better roll into town. If I can get back into my car safely. I got nothing for you. I think all I've got on me in the car is Doritos, and you can't feed Doritos to burritos. We don't want this little baby getting diabetic. And speaking of donkeys and diabetes, that's actually not a joke. Up here in downtown Oatman, where I can see there's some sort of gathering, there's some sort of event happening up here. Many of the stores will actually sell donkey feed. And for years and years and years, that meant handfuls of carrots. In fact, I myself was handed bags of carrots and fed these donkeys carrots many times. Well, it turns out that carrots have quite a bit of sugar in them. So when you feed burros too many carrots, they actually do get diabetic. And literally, the donkeys here were getting diabetes. All right, let's see what this is all about here. This guy's giving a little historical presentation on the town. I see what's happening now. They're giving a little bit of a historical presentation before they begin a gunfight in the streets of Oatman, all supported by donations, of course. He's still talking, but I've seen the other gunfighter coming. I think battle is imminent. Ah, yes, there's nothing like the traditional staged tourist gunfight. But if that's not enough touristiness for you, they do have the old manor in here and the shooting gallery. And unlike those guys, I'm a crack shot. What a jackass. Oh yes, look at Oatman, Arizona. Look at the Sugar Saloon across the street. There are t-shirt shops and candy shops galore. And every time I've come out here for the last couple of years, they seem to add more and more and more tourist attractions. It is actually an old, authentic Old West ghost town, though. And as silly as some of the names are up on the front, as much as those fronts have been remodeled over the years to look a little more Hollywood Old West, these dressed up facades do actually cover up old, authentic buildings built here during the early 1900s into the 19-teens during Oatman's boom, and of course into the 20s, 30s, and even the 1940s when Oatman was catering to all those tourists and travelers coming to the Old West along old Route 66, which pass right here below our feet, right in front of the old 1902 Oatman Hotel, where according to legend, Clark Gable and Carol Lombard spent part of their honeymoon. That has been thoroughly debunked, I believe, by historians over the years. But just like the news, Oatman never lets the facts get in the way of a good story. And so still to this day, upstairs in the Oatman Hotel, they will show you their honeymoon suite. We'll go check that out in a minute. First, look at this. The donkeys are returning to town after the gunfight has wrapped up. Hello there, pretty girl. A lot of expectant mothers among them. And young babies. Look at this one. Aw, this is just a young guy. This is just a little teenager right there. He's going through that awkward shedding phase. It's funny, Oatman's gone through dry spells where hardly any tourists were coming through here. But in the lead up to the 100th anniversary of Route 66, things have really gone up a notch. There's a whole new generation of entrepreneurs that have been opening up new Airbnbs out here near Oatman, opening up new shops in town. And the Oatman Highway that goes between the border with California and the nearby town of Kingman, Arizona is pretty twisty, pretty narrow, especially on the eastern half, the we haven't driven yet today. That part is honestly rather treacherous, and so as highway traffic increased, this whole treacherous mountain section of Route 66 was bypassed by a new route. It goes through Yucca, Arizona, where the modern interstate goes through now, in the early to mid 1950s. And more gold and more mining has popped up here and there in the hills, but nothing like it was back in the day. So ever since that time, Oatman's had to rely on digging the gold out of tourists' pockets at stores like this, the Classy Ass Jewelry and Gifts, with this beautifully refreshed hand-painted sign out front. Look at that. Original historic attractions like the Oatman Hotel and the Oatman Saloon, which also doubles as a restaurant. Supposedly, both of these buildings here, which are connected inside, are extremely haunted, if you're into that kind of thing. Now, I'm not sure about any trapped human souls. I don't know much about the afterlife because I've never been there, but the building is definitely haunted by milkshakes, ice cream, and nachos today, which is a weird change. Nowadays, you step into the Oatman Hotel and there's a little snack bar right there for you. You can enjoy a tasty, frosty treat. Back when I first started coming here, there wasn't nothing in the lobby except for the ghosts, I guess. And you had to wend your way into the saloon next door if you wanted any refreshment. Dude, and look at this freaking place. The Oatman Saloon is absolutely littered with lucre. This has always been an old tradition, stapling a dollar bill to the walls of the Oatman Saloon and signing your name on it, right? It's a way to leave a tip and leave your mark on the old place. Maybe it's the owner's retirement fund we're looking at. But in recent years, this has really picked up, right? Since social media has picked up, YouTube videos, and went from a couple of walls covered with dollar bills the last time I stapled one to the wall to just absolutely being covered. Every square inch of this place is getting covered with layer after layer. Look at this entire room covered in dollar bills. There is more money in here than has ever been in my savings account. And if you don't believe me, just ask Willie Nelson up there. Ooh, I think I know where the hauntings are coming from. Look at that. Dude, absolutely incredible. Look at this old place, been slinging out liquor for generations. The dollar bills are getting so thick in here, they're literally hanging off of every surface. Particularly impressive in this doorway here where they're kind of hanging down like a little bit of a fridge, and look at that over the original bar. I mean, just absolutely covered. Not just with American currency, there's currency from all around the world. Now the American currency has certainly taken over the bulk of it. Look at that, you can see some of the ancient currency that began this whole trend here on the wall, on the dartboard target. And it used to be confined to the saloon, but it's now taking over the lobby of the hotel itself, where, by the way, you can walk upstairs and check out the Gable Lombard honeymoon suite. Look at that, donation appreciated. Well, nowadays, you don't have to leave your donation in a box or on these little scales. You could just staple it right to the wall, just like you could in the saloon. Right downstairs, it says this hotel building was built in 1902 by a Mr. Derlin and was called the Derlin Hotel. It burned down in 1919 and was rebuilt in 1920, known as the Ox Yoke Inn. Finally, in 1960, it just simply got the name Oatman Hotel. I keep hearing rumors that they're gonna open up some of the rooms in here as Airbnbs, like you're gonna be able to stay in them. And sometimes when you look it up, you'll see the Oatman Hotel listed on various things and then find out you're actually staying in some kind of room maybe owned by the Oatman Hotel, but located off property. I don't want to stay off property. I want to stay in one of these rooms right here. You can imagine in the 1920s and 1930s, this was definitely the nicest place to stay in town. As you can see, all the rooms now say employees only on them. They're used for storage, probably for the restaurant and the saloon down below. There is this massive gift shop upstairs, which I've never actually seen open. And I see new-ish stuff in there, so they must open this sometimes when the town gets really busy. But I've never happened to be here when this little fence is down. Open, open, open. But right next to that little fence there it is. There's the Clark Gable Carol Lombard honeymoon suite that we just peeked into. I cannot imagine Clark Gable staying in this place. Unless like Carol Lombard was like, Clark, there's flies on the wall. Frankly, my darling, I don't give a damn. I think I just butchered that quote. Frankly, my dear. Oh no, what have I done? Clark, will you ever forgive me? Rat Butler. Jim Hinckley, probably the most prominent historian of the local area, and Route 66 in particular, thinks this whole story is bunk about them staying in Oatman, and he thinks he can prove it, and I believe him. What else are they supposed to do? Show you the honeymoon suite of two travelers you never heard of from the 1920s? Leave it as it is. It's one of those things where if the story is told long enough and people believe it hard enough, why mess with it? Just let it continue on into the future. I never noticed this, but down in the back, it looks like they have some more artifacts and displays. There's definitely some historic newspapers on the wall. I gotta get down here sometime when this is opened up to the public. In fact, there's a very specific event that happens in Oatman that I've always wanted to go to and never managed to make it to. It's never worked with my schedule. If we descend the Clark Gable staircase here and go back out onto the main street of Oatman, onto the Oatman Highway, you'll notice that, hey, put that thing away. This is a family show. Avert your eyes, boy. What was I saying? Oh, you'll notice up here on the side of the road, just past the Sugar Saloon, this bed frame on wheels and this sign for the great Oatman bed races, Saturday, January 30th at 1 p.m. Now, I was quite busy on January 30th of this year. Well, my plan was to actually come and attend this year. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. I don't know if it's in the card for me to ever see the Oatman bed races. Basically, all kinds of crazy folks construct their own wild-looking, quote-unquote, beds and then have themselves almost like a little soapbox derby down the streets of Oatman. I don't think I've ever noticed this little shop right here before. Jenny and Jack's Artifacts. Well, it's got one of those old official Route 66 roadside attraction signs on it. Look at that, gold mining ghost town, Oatman, Arizona. This turn of the century gold mining camp was on the original road through the Black Mountains and eventually became Route 66. Burros came with the miners and still roam the streets today, and they're looking a lot better than the miners themselves. What happened to you, sir? Don't mind him. He's just tired over there. Yeah, dead tired. This guy didn't like my jokes. He didn't like my jokes. Oh, by the way, London has procured himself the new donkey feed out here, which are alfalfa pellets. I can't remember if last time we were here they were alfalfa pellets or not, but I do remember the olden days where you used to hand these guys carrots and they went crazy for them. Alfalfa pellets kind of sounds like luring a human with a salad. Like, you want some delicious salad over here, something healthy? Look at this. Apparently, they're into it. Now, that wasn't an alfalfa pellet, technically. London's holding a cube of hay there, which this donkey is just licking off of you. How's that feel? Delicious? Does your hand feel nice?
He didn't even lick my hand at all. It was all perfect.
They're pro at alfalfa extraction. Most of them are friendly. You gotta be kind, be careful not to startle them. Don't stand by their hind ends. But don't get it twisted, they are wild animals managed by the US government, so definitely be careful what you do. Do not mistreat them or you'll be in violation of federal law. Not that there is much law around these parts, but they are wild. They can kick, they can and will bite, and they will run out right in front of vehicles. So use caution while you're driving. Oh, your friend is back. He wants some of your pellets. Be careful, because once you feed them, they will follow you around everywhere, including inside of the stores. Often and often I've seen the store owners having to come out and gently push the donkeys out. And they get to know them, like literally on a first name basis. Like, get out of here, old Bill. Since we're on the subject of Route 66, and we are in fact having a Randomland adventure, I'll give you a little trivia for you. This shack right here is where I bought the little burro that I put out at the Blue Swallow Motel in Tucumcari, New Mexico. A lot of people visit that little burro. Beto the burro. I bought him from right inside the gift shack here. They seem to have less and less of it every year, but not this year. This year they've fully restocked with even bigger burros down here. All those kind of Mexican chalkware, ceramic pieces, the coyotes and the old wagon wheels, the sleepy guys leaning against the cactus, the old road runners. They've got it all. It's all the old school original stuff, not modern ceramic stuff. Easy for it to chip and wear out, but when I was growing up, dude, like everybody left over from the greatest generation, they all had this stuff all over their lawns. Now look at this. This is the kind of little burro that I bought and put at the Roadrunner Motel, and I bought a Roadrunner from in here actually in Tucumcari, and also Beto, the world famous Route 66 burro who's hiding behind the Blue Swallow. That's a lot of words for basically, I really like to shop in here. I'm kind of digging on these guys this time. Look at them. Look how surprised and happy they are. Let's take one of these out to a Route 66 attraction. Man, and if I get a chance to stop here on the way back home, I think I might buy up half of this store. The prices, by the way, are also really good. 20 bucks for that covered wagon right there. I don't know how much for the giant cactus. Dude, it's only 40 bucks. That's a bargain. And before you leave the store, don't forget your whip and your old school 1950 style flocked burros. Now, all of these stores have other standard old Western souvenirs, cowboy hats and straw hats, Mexican blankets and serapes, propane accessories, Bigfoot items. But I feel like there's a special emphasis in Oatman on ass equipment, meaning donkey, right? Kids, it's not a bad word. It's in the Bible. Ass just means donkey. It's a scientific term. Oh my gosh, look at this. American-made skull suspenders. I like that. Also plenty of handmade, recycled, upcycled hippie clothes for your weird sister who likes to heal herself with crystals. Look at this. I could wear those and frolic in the forest with glee. Oh, look at this brag right here. Yeah, big deal, I got pockets too. Ah, look at this. We've got an obstruction. We've got a little traffic here on the sidewalk, and no wonder, because this is one of the shops where they sell burro food. And look at that. No more carrots, just like I was telling you. It's because we don't have Wilford Brimley anymore to help out the old burros. We've got to eat these weird alfalfa pellets. Hey! Get it? See what I did there? Kind of. It's not, I mean, it's alfalfa, not hay, but maybe they are hay pellets. I don't know. Let me see here. Hey. That's alfalfa. I don't want to throw any shade on the shops here, but that alfalfa was expired. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Uh-oh. We got an ass fight. I'm not a biologist, so I don't know if they're being friendly or if that was some kind of strange donkey mating ritual, but that got a little intense there for a second. Hey, I ain't never seen this cowboy out here before. How come nobody ever does like a hand-painted plywood cutout Chris Christopherson? You know what I mean? This guy knows what I mean. He knows what's up. By the way, I really did put that in my mouth. And I mean, you know, at least it was gluten-free, and it tasted just like a lot of the gluten-free products I have to eat on a regular basis. This is cool. I like when the shops put out some of the relics found in and around town. These relics particularly rock. A couple cool old motorcycle engines. I love this stuff. Got a sign out front that says they're celebrating 100 years of Route 66, and they're doing it in style. See, look at that. Look at these antiques. A lot of people go metal detecting around here and pull out old pieces of rifles. That's why they're all roached out. A lot of these were buried in the earth or found in old drawers, attics, basements. And if you've ever known any old bottle hunters, you'll know that a lot of times they dig them out of old outhouses. So they'll find where the old Western outhouses were on old maps. They'll go digging there and dig through the refuse, the ossified, petrified refuse to find old bottles and stuff like that. Anyway, speaking of Oatman and antiques, things are changing all the time, but one of my favorite places to go is right over here, right next door to Jackass Ron's, and right across the street from Jackass Junction, we got the Mission Inn Antiques and Curios over here. And I don't know where they get it, but they always have great stuff. Old restored well pumps out here, all kinds of old mining equipment, picks and shovels, wagon pieces, yokes for your oxen and stuff. Like, I don't even know what this thing is with the chain on it. That's a beauty right there, an old mobile oil pump. So you used to actually get your oil out of things like this at the gas stations. There's a very sharp metal price tag on here. Less than 300 bucks to walk away with that thing. Apparently you can do some crab fishing out here in Oatman. They got some old Phillips 66 gas signs. They got your hose and rakes, basically all the accoutrement you need to have your villagers go and chase the monster. Tons and tons of old wagon wheels. I always want to grab some authentic old wagon wheels and take them home. I never have a car big enough. Look at that one right there. That's a beauty. I want that thing. Get yourself an old washing machine, a mangle, a wash tub. But inside, it just gets more and more diverse from there. Oh, look at this. Here's a relic right there. Original Star Trek VHS tapes. Lots of beautiful art on the walls. Leather vests, cast iron souvenirs. What are these old boot jacks right there? That's cool. Some anvils, just in case you run into Wile E. Coyote. Tractor seats, so grandma always has somewhere to sit. Some old Coke and Pepsi crates. Old signage, old deer heads, and so much more. Look at all this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think their collection's complete? So many rusty old tools, I want them all. Oil can. What? Oil can. What is that you're trying to say? I said oil can, dang it. What is that you're trying to say? These oil cans are rude. Oh, I like that. I like the old gas pump nozzles down there. Some old hub caps. Ooh, they got bear traps. You can put those all around the nudist resorts. Get it, London? Bear trap? No, never mind. He's too young. He doesn't get it. Oh, that is sick. Look at that clawfoot tub right there. 1,200 bucks. It's like a cast iron bathtub. I wonder where that came from. That is amazing. I wish I had a clawfoot tub. The house I'm living in doesn't have any bathtub at all. And actually, for the last couple weeks, it hasn't even had hot water. Our landlord disappeared on us. Oh my gosh, look at the bouncy horses. I'm not kidding, London. When I was a little kid, we had one of these at my grandma's house, and it was probably from the late 50s or early 1960s, and we used this thing all the time. Many a time we were pinched by springs. Many a time the horse fell over and we were knocked off and it was bouncing and whacking you in the head with the little wooden handles there. We were made of tough stuff back then. We drank from the hose. That's why we got so many problems. Chemicals everywhere. Chemicals in the breakfast cereal. We watched a lot of flashing cartoons, a lot of He-Man. That's why we're so intense. I was just talking about these. I love these books right here. The Old West. Anyway, it's one of my favorite stores, and you can see why, but I think we're gonna have to pick up and keep moving here. As cool as it is, we can't spend all day in Oatman, right? It's about time we started heading a little further to the east. The most hardcore, coolest, craziest section of old Route 66 you can still drive on today is coming up just when you exit Oatman itself. The climb up to Sitgreaves Pass and then the descent down towards Cool Springs of Hollywood fame and referenced in Cars Land at Disney's California Adventure. Ooh, oh my gosh, before we get going on the highway though, look at this condemned no occupancy. That is crazy. This was the landmark building of Oatman for years and years. Now selling this for $50,000, which tells you it needs some repairs. It was the Olive Oatman restaurant and saloon with Olive Oatman's picture right up there. She was kidnapped by the Mojave Indians and actually tattooed. She was a tatted up lady. We've discussed her in previous Randomland installments. I might get a chance to discuss her coming up ahead if we get to the Mojave Museum today or tomorrow. But a very famous old Western Native American massacre, kidnap, rescue situation that we can't go into properly now, especially not to make everybody happy with the political correctness and being careful with our words and all that stuff. So we'll just skip it for the moment. Look at this, another one of those boingy hoists. Them boingy hoists over here. Look at that, they sell some rad flower tea in here. I don't know what that means. It's the Pinnacle store. This is one of the newer stores that's opened up down here in Oatman. Look at this. This isn't Zoltar. This isn't Pappy. Learn about and watch me rattle. You can learn about diamondback rattlesnakes. Definitely a cool, newer spot to check out. Ooh, look at this. Look at this classic car alert. What even is that thing? Is that an old Fiat? How's it going? I don't know, but apparently it's German. A lot of German written on there. Those guys are having a whole heck of a lot of fun. Schnell to California, yeah! Just before I go real quick, not that I need any more sugar. I think I'll have plenty of that. I don't remember ever going inside the Sugar Saloon over here. I think this has been renamed since the last time I was in town. Might as well pop my head in. I could be remembering that wrong. It's been a little while since London and I came this way. 2 years about. Look at that. Oh, I remember these guys. These guys have been here on the roof for a while. Look at this. They got some penny candy, old school candy, cigarettes. They got ice cream being slung behind the counter. Hand-dipped ice cream, as it turns out. And I love that. Some random old antique pendants. I like when antiques are kind of mixed into stores that sell new stuff. Old Salty's chips back here. Some fancy Henny stuff. A little bit of Hobby Lobby signage over there. I love it. This is awesome. It's pretty cool in there, but what's really sweet is getting back on the open road, which we are just about to do. By the way, you can pan for gold and dig for gems. You see the old Oatman Jail Museum back there, which we did last time. Took a thorough tour of that. Take a self-guided, free, haunted mine tour in that mine shaft back there. And even gaze upon some of the older buildings. This one you can see in the movie How the West Was Won. Jimmy Stewart, anyone? We were in this store last time, but since it's all been boarded up, I mean, it looked like it was just about on its last legs the last time I was here, but I think what they're actually doing is some restoration. I don't think they're boarding it up for it to just fall into the earth, because look at that, Oatman Drug, saving gold mining history. It looks like they might be renovating and actually reopening the old Oatman Drug store. They always have their kind of like little Hollywood movie museum displays in there and stuff like that. The venerable old barn is more than 100 years old. It's good that it's getting some TLC. It's just too bad it's not quite open yet. See here some painted plywood traces of when it was a film museum. See that little film strip there? A lot of buildings like this finally did get some attention because of the impending 100th anniversary of Route 66 and all the celebrations. Some will open this year. Others are just finally getting the funding they need to be viable into next year. Technically speaking, although Route 66 was assigned its number in the early part, hey, another one of 1926, the U.S. highway system, I don't believe went into full effect until November of that year, which means they can technically drag out this 100th anniversary into 2027 as well. Oh my gosh, guys, I apologize for the filth on the streets of Oatman today. Look, who's gonna clean that up? This town ain't big enough for the both of us to be pooping in the streets. So I guess I better mosey on out. Look at this over here, Montana Lee Soaps and Suds. That appears to be new. I don't remember ever seeing that before. They had all kinds of little stands out here with flags, light up swords. You got little dinosaur thingies where you squeeze the thing and then the thing makes a thing. You know what I'm talking about? Bubble wands. Look at this, McCutcheon's Health Products. Oh, you can get resonating, magnetic therapy, resonating frequencies. No doubt there are some crystals and sage for sale in there. I think I'll skip over that one. Oh, look at this. No carrots though. They're all about health. They don't want them donkeys being unhealthy. And then you can go next door and get yourself some beef jerky. You can go get some crystal healing, or you can do what Don Corleone says, so knock like a man. Hey man, they're just trying to save your what? What? Look at all the hand-painted signs, by the way. Absolutely incredible. Fun pics of every description. And the sexiest donkeys in the land. All right, it's time for us to get out of here. I didn't mean to go so hog wild in a town full of donkeys. I just like to have fun. Any chance to get me photo? Oh, I'm sorry, but just one more Oatman thing. Look at these old ruins of some old classic ghost town building. And then look at somebody stuck their double wide, somebody stuck their mobile home on top of it to create their house. Now that's recycling. It may be kind of brown out here, but Oatman's going green. All right, now we're rolling out of town, headed up to the Sitgreaves Pass and the windy, twisty, crazy roads of the Oatman Highway, all scattered around are wrecks of old cars or old mining holes. A word to the wise, if you do drive the Oatman Highway, obey those 15 mile per hour, 20 mile per hour speed limit signs, because those curves are kind of wicked. Believe me, as someone who's done it many times, people come whipping around those corners over the line all the time. And keep your eyes peeled, because you'll see a bunch of rock foundations for old gold mining, as well as some active gold mining sites like the ones that you see out here, the old Gold Road Mine, established in 1902. And it's still been going on and off over the years. You know, they have booms and busts and stuff like that. They used to do gold mine tours. I don't know if they still do that today. Getting a little stuttery, man. My throat's getting a little dry out here in the desert heat, but they are actively doing gold mining out here. Taking over what's left from the big gold boom back in the 19-teens and 20s, back in Route 66's heyday. It's kind of the last thing you see before you start to actually climb the mountains here, up some crazy, death-defying hairpin turns up higher and higher towards the Sitgreaves Pass up on top of the hill. And that's where we're making our way up to now. We're doing the climb. All right, we've done it. We made the windy, twisty ascent up the Black Mountains all the way up 3,350 feet from sea level up to Sitgreaves Pass right here. Not that hard to do in a 2024 RAV4 hybrid, or really any modern Toyota, but back in the day, doing this in a Model T or doing this with a horse and wagon, man, that must have been an ordeal. Look at this, here we have something new. Look at this Mojave County Centennial Route 66 sign up here. And we can finally walk over and peer over down the east side of the Black Mountains, where the road keeps winding down over there on the right-hand side of your screen, down towards Squaw's Teeth. That's that mountain down there in the foreground. Believe it or not, right up here on the east side of Sitgreaves Pass, right at the top, was once a gas station that sold, of all things, ice cream. I believe it was called the Summit Station or something like that. I'm just going off of memory. It burned down in the late 1960s, but for years and years and years, there was a gas station up here. And you can still see some of the remnants of it, some concrete foundations. There's some pipes and other bits of concrete up there where some of the tanks were. Part of the building used to hang out over the edge here, right by where that lady in the turquoise-ish, what color would you call that? Teal sweater is standing, hanging out over the edge of the cliff here. And boy, what a view that would have been to sit inside and lick your ice cream cone. These mountains all along old Route 66 are full of secrets, right? Old wagon road alignments and things like that. By the way, while I'm standing up here, Sitgreaves Pass itself was named for a guy named Lorenzo Sitgreaves, Captain Lorenzo Sitgreaves from the U.S. Corps of Engineers, who came up here and scouted out a path in the Black Mountains, but not actually this part of it. There was a little bit of a historical misunderstanding where this part of the original Beals wagon road that came up over the mountains was renamed for Lorenzo Sitgreaves, but we don't think he actually ever came through this pass. I guess that's a little in the weeds, but that's some real history for you there. Now, the descent, if anything, down the east side of the mountain is just as treacherous, if not more so, than the side that we just climbed up, and it's got all kinds of secret wagon alignments and all that stuff like I was telling you. But one of my favorite secrets, if not my favorite secret on this part of the Mother Road, on this twisty, windy, narrow, treacherous part of the road that I'm letting my son drive down, is what is up this little stone staircase that sort of camouflage blends right in to the surrounding landscape. We did see this on our last Route 66 series, which you can still find on this channel. This is the secret Route 66 fishbowl. There's an old dripping spring that comes down out of the mountains that is captured in a handmade basin up here just below the rock that the spring seeps out of. There's all kinds of legends about who created the original fishbowl. I've heard tell of all different kind of prospectors, of road workers who built it, of local ranchers who built it so that the burros would have some place to drink, that the CCC had something to do with the modern incarnation of the fishbowl. I'm not sure exactly which legend is true, but the Civilian Conservation Corps legend does sort of jive with the type of construction you see here. Somebody put a lot of work into this. As you can see, they really wanted to get at this water up here. Believe it or not, it's not as easy as it looks to climb up that stairway. When you do climb up it, be very respectful of the bees. Because of course, this is the American Southwest and there are a lot of bees in the area, including Africanized killer bees. But look at this, you can see water actually seeping out of the side of the rock here. And then right in front of us, that's not a natural formation. This was built up by man to capture a little bit of that seep, and there it is right there. The Route 66 secret fishbowl, so called because often and often people will actually populate this pond with goldfish. I just saw one peek up above the surface, hang on. Oh, but it's really hard to see. The water is awfully murky. I think my appearance here has made the goldfish hide, but there are indeed actually some goldfish in there right now. I just saw one bubble up and grab a bug. See if I can capture one on camera. This is hard. I don't know if they want to poke their heads above the surface, because as you can see over here on this other part of the seeping rock, there are quite a lot of bees up here. Maybe even, oh, there was one. Did you see that? Ah! Maybe even goldfish are scared of bees. Dude, you gotta stand here for quite a while to see the goldfish peeking their heads up out of the murk. And it's just a little bit nerve-wracking because the bees love to land on the seeping water, especially over there, and you can hear them. I don't know how well you can hear it, but it sounds like a cartoon sound effect, all these bees. There's definitely a hive somewhere because I'm not just hearing the few that are floating around after this water. It's fine looking at them, just don't stir them up, you know what I mean? Very carefully cross over the bees. I'm not here to harm anyone. I'm not a flower, please don't pollinate me. Oh, of course, now that I'm up here, I got the drop on them. I can see tons of goldfish popping up there. I don't know how well you can see that. Bunch of little miniature koi fish down there, poking their heads up, having the time of their life in their luxury secret Route 66 accommodation. All right, we are gonna go down the windy, treacherous path, past many other Route 66 secrets, which I've explored before and would love to explore again. Lots of secrets I have yet to explore because the shadows are getting long on the ground and we wanna make it down to Cool Springs. Oh, they're the best. On Route 66, a secret staircase in the mountains leads to a secret fishbowl that almost no one knows about. Windy roads and treacherous canyons lead to ghost towns full of wild burros. Strap in for another exciting adventure on old Route 66. Hey, what the heck? I'll tell you what's really hair-raising for me is having London be the one driving down the treacherous roads from Sitgreaves. Look at that, there's Ed's camp back there. I want to get on that property so bad. I've wanted to for years. I've never had the chance. Oh, look at this traffic jam. We got some donkeys on the road. There's a lot going on in just this one little spot right here. Yeah, I gotta get into Ed's camp one day. That's the dream. Home of the old Cactus Cafe. Look at these guys. We're pretty far from Oatman, but they know the drill, right? They want some of them pellets. I ain't got no pellets for you, fellas. They're following me, aren't they? They're following me. Yeah, look at that right over there. Ed's camp. That's an old classic Route 66 campground down here. They had cottages. They had something called the Cactus Cafe, with a couple of Ks, comedy Ks on them. Over there's now private property, and from what I understand, they are very not friendly about visitors. Hello, other than the wild burros coming through. If you don't want to get pet, don't come close, buddy, because I ain't got no food for you. What are you jealous of? Well, at least you want some pets. You want some scratches right there. I mean, I guess I don't mind the burros, but famously unfriendly to Route 66 looky-loo, so definitely do not traipse onto the property without permission. I would love to obtain that permission though. I would pay handsomely for the privilege. I want to check out Ed's camp sometime. All right, maybe I shouldn't have stopped right here and gotten out. This is getting ridiculous. We got a major traffic jam over here, fellas. A major traffic jam. Guys, cars need to get through here. We gotta get to Cool Springs. Get out of the way. Oh, all right, we made it all the way down. We are officially down at Cool Springs. Well, all right, we made it down. We survived the 191 turns, 8 miles, and no guardrails of the Arizona Sidewinder down to Squaw's Teat and the old original 1920s filling station and cabin location Cool Springs. Now, famously, Cool Springs has been rebuilt. It was abandoned and lost to the ravages of time, and then slightly rebuilt for the movie Universal Soldier, and then blown up, and then rebuilt in around 2001, 2002, right in that era, by a man named Ned Luchner, or something like that. I can never pronounce that name. Is that Luchner? Lechner? Ned would become obsessed with the property and spent several years building it back up into a viable roadside stop along old Route 66, basically just in time for the Pixar crew to come by and be inspired by the story of Cool Springs' revival, which is why, in part anyway, they have this sign out in front of Cool Springs, the real Radiator Springs. Yes, the word springs is in it, just like Peach Springs. No, this did not inspire any part of the town of Radiator Springs, but in the Radiator Springs Racers attraction at DCA, there is kind of a replica of Cool Springs built into the queue, into the line for that attraction. And so in a roundabout way, this really is part of the real life Radiator Springs. Look at that right there. Now that sign is kind of obnoxiously large to be sitting right there, ruining the sweet, perfect angle. It's definitely one of the newer signs out here in front on old Route 66. And look at this, this is also new. I love a handmade fun pick cutout. Look how much fun London is having. You can barely see his face, but he's having so much fun in their fun pick. Send it to grandma. Normally in this part of Cool Springs in years past, there was sort of a grab it yourself honor system, little open air market. I see that's now been closed up, but they got a bunch of stuff sitting in front of the front door. It's important to say that they rebuilt and reopened the filling station, but not so much the cabins, the camping cabins of Cool Springs, some of which actually survived. They're a little lower down the hill. I'll show you in a second. First, look at this, 100 years of Route 66, 1926 to 2026. Love that Pegasus right there. These are some of the new things on the Mother Road. This place we've been to many times before, but I love to cover the old ground and see what they've done to spruce up the place for the 100th anniversary year. This is one of the places I left one of my custom handmade Route 66 shield wooden signs at, but I never saw it again. I don't know if they sold it off, which was their right. It's their sign. They can do what they want with it, or somebody snatched it here from the side of the road. But yeah, look at all this sweet stuff. I mean, this stuff really rocks. They got all kinds of sweet swag out here. Everything from some kind of rusty metal warthog to something I need to give me a little support there. Oh, those are cool, the ceramic tiles right there. Yeah, this is all the stuff that would have been sitting out, and before there was a little cash box, you could just drop cash into it after hours. But yeah, look at that. Caution, rocks get very hot. Indeed. Look at these crystals right here. You don't even have to charge them. They're already charged up by the sun. Crystal power. Gotta be careful with selenite. First of all, if you drop it, you could build a new Fortress of Solitude. You can also get splinters from crystals. You ever gotten a crystal splinter before? I have. And it freaking hurts, London. That's what it does. Well, this is interesting. They've got a little food preparation sink out here. Looks like during some recent events, maybe the fun runs and stuff, they might have had some food out here. Here's a historic plaque. It's a little faded, but I love that on the foundation of some of the old cabins, they got a little cactus garden here, nice smoker's bench. There's a couple memorial stones out here. It's a little memory garden, memorial stones for some of their fallen Route 66 comrades. And then down the hill behind us, look at that. That's like one of the only surviving things from the original Cool Springs. Look at that shack down there. I don't think anybody's staying in that. At present, there is an RV that's usually parked here because they usually have a caretaker. I don't know what the current situation is, but could be someone's living in there and they're just keeping it on the DL. There is, in fact, a satellite dish on top. Sir, the man is here about the satellite dish. What's his name? His name is James Chesterton. Lawrence Fangs, Lawrence Fells, James Chesterton. We're like this. Oh my gosh, look at this. The coolest part of Cool Springs. Some of the cats out here must have had kittens. Aww. She's just a baby. She's just a dirty baby. Some of the cats out here had babies, and now there's kittens that have grown up at Cool Springs, and they're so docile and sweet. Oh, who's just a little baby? Oh my gosh, and I've heard that inside the store, there are even more hiding out in here. I'm looking. Last time there was one hiding in here. It must have been the mama cat last time Leonard and I were here, because there was just one big old fat cat in here, not a bunch of little skinny babies. Oh, look, there's their food supply right there. Right in that old jalopy in front of the sick visible gas pump. Look at this. You can see old pinup gals on the wall, a bunch of old Route 66 history, all kinds of art prints, magnets, bottles, and artifacts found at Cool Springs during its reconstruction. And by the way, look at these. These are really cool. This is some of the coolest, nicest, most creative, like cactus garden, souvenir cactus garden for sale that I have seen on the route. It's gone up a notch. That's exactly like the kind of thing my grandma would have had on her coffee table in the 80s. Not seeing the other cats in here. There's supposed to be 6 of them. We've only seen 2, but it's kind of fun. Oh, there it is. Hello, kitty. Hello. Are you just taking a nap right there in the products? Right next to the Chester's fries? Oh, doesn't want to be disturbed. Must be gentle. Must be soft and gentle with the kitties. Look how fuzzy. Okay, these are some of the sweetest, most sociable Route 66 cats I've ever seen. Look at them. Oh, they're all a bunch of little dirty babies. That is freaking adorable right there. Look at that. Now that's a find, dude. That'll make your whole day on Route 66. Dude, they got a lot of hot sauce in here. These 5-ounce Woozy bottles are half the size of my hot sauce and more than half the price, so I'm giving a heck of a deal still. A lot of these are made with powders and extracts, though. I'm not impugning the honor of whatever particular one I'm holding as you're watching, but my stuff is all natural, craft produced, Randomland hot sauce at randomland.com. If this kitty had some, she'd be awake because it is hot and it is flavorful. You know what else? We also have some sick merch, including some Route 66 keychains. We got new stickers. We got a new pin, a new Randomland pin. Signed books. That's right. I wrote a book, all right? So sue me. And sweet Kindred Spirits Randomland. The R stands for adventure. Hats, including in black. Ooh. Available at randomland.com as well. And you can go to randomland.com and find the link to our Patreon, which you can also find down in the description, and other social media platforms and things like that. But Patreon is what really helps keep us on the road and keep making more episodes like this. Help keep the show on the road if you want by sharing, liking, subscribing. Those things are all free, easy to do, and they really do help us out. As you can't tell by the fact that I'm making this pitch now, that means we're almost done for today. I freaking love places like this. I love stops like this. I love all the wacky, crazy art. I just love the aesthetic of old biker-infested, cat-infested, Route 66 mania-infested landmarks. I like that you can buy fudge and knives and incense and yoo-hoo and bedazzled bison skulls. That's the best part about, ooh, look at that one. Ooh, that is the best art of all the art. London, catch your dreams. Gemstone mushrooms, desert roses, lightning McQueen, cold drinks. Something for everyone here. Bring your grandma, bring your cousin, bring your uncle, sister, cousin, and have a good time. And that's exactly what we did. We had a good time, but I feel like this particular adventure is long enough, so catch up with us a little farther down the road as we make our way down historic Route 66 upstream towards Chicago. And next up, we're gonna roll in to Kingman, Arizona, one of the towns from the song. Get your kicks on Route 66. Which is exactly what we've done today, my friends. And that means we've done our duty. Check out those links down below in the description. You'll have done your duty too, and you can go home and sleep well. Oh my gosh, guys, I apologize for the filth on the streets of Oatman today. Look, who's gonna clean that up? This town ain't big enough for the both of us to be pooping in the streets, so I guess I better mosey on out.